All right, so this video is just to kind of help you try to start to set up and organize your spreadsheets and your raw data. So basically, I have two spreadsheets of my data. So one of them is the poisoning death per 100,000 people. The other one is the literacy rate. It doesn't really matter which one, but I just basically copied all the data from one to the other. So on this sheet, and actually that's not entirely true. What I actually did was I downloaded and I used this this spreadsheet that goes along with the Excel videos for the one variable statistics Excel calculations. I actually copied and pasted my raw data from those two spreadsheets into this document originally. And so I would maybe recommend doing the same thing. Just use a copy of the original Excel spreadsheet and go ahead and you can add, right? So you can add a tab and then you can copy and paste each of the data sets into that one spreadsheet. So all I did was I selected all. I use a lot of keyboard shortcuts. So let's see, select all. Now, you know what, you can do that with this little button up here. So select all, select the whole spreadsheet, all the data, I believe, or just the whole spreadsheet, yeah. Anyway, so that little arrow right here, or little kind of triangle looking thing, selects the whole sheet. You can right click and copy. I do Control C, and then when you create your new spreadsheet over here, just select that first cell, copy, paste, just that first, there we go. So that way you compile it into one spreadsheet, which again, I have already done for both of those, and I renamed the tabs. Just right click on the tab, rename. You can choose the tab color as well. And then, so here's what I had to do. I had to take, or I decided to use the year 2011 because for literacy rates, that was the most recent year. And so for 2011, I had to copy that data set. And so what I did was I set up a raw, just a final raw data sheet. And so to do that, just start another sheet. And then what I did was, one thing I noticed was the countries, they don't all have the same countries that responded or data collected on, and not all the countries have data for each year. So what I did was I copied, so I selected the top column for the countries. I copied that, so copy, and then paste that here. And then, let's see, that was for poisoning. So then what I did, I went to 2011, the year 2011. I copied that whole column. Paste that. And so there's the data for, might want to title that poison. Poisoning 2011. And then I did the same thing for literacy rates. I selected, I copied the countries first. Again, Control C, Control V, nice shortcut. And then the data for 2011. This is literacy rate. And so I left a little gap in between here. And then what I was noticing was, again, I don't have all the data for all the same countries. So notice as we start working our way down here, right here, these countries are not the same, right? So what I had to do was manually, and this is where it might take some time. It will take some time. So manually, what I ended up doing was going through and sorting and deleting data that I didn't have either data collected on or countries that weren't, both data values weren't collected for. So for example, the first two countries are they both have data for 2011. Algeria, though, does not. So for Algeria, I'm going to delete that because Algeria doesn't have a literacy rate. So you can select the whole row by clicking on the number over here and then hit the delete key. not the backspace key, but the delete. Backspace, I think, just deletes the one cell, the first cell. So highlight the whole row, hit the delete key, or you can highlight the row, right click and delete, and that will actually delete the whole row, not just what's in it. So what I actually want there is I want a row in between there, or a couple. So what you can do is wherever you want to insert the row. So I want to insert it right above there. Insert, it'll insert a row. I'm going to insert a couple of them here. So then what I did is I started going through. Okay, so the next country, Andorra. I don't have information on Andorra for literacy rate, so I just went ahead and, again, deleted that data. And then I moved up, so Angola. So select Angola, and then I dragged that. Nope, didn't want to replace it. I just want to drag and replace that up here and line these up. So now I have Angola. Antigua and Barbuda, I do have both of those. So again, I want to move those up. Argentina, nice. I have both of those. Some of these I could see. Okay, so here I have Argentina and Armenia, and both of these I have as well. So I can kind of look ahead a little bit here. Australia I don't have for both. Austria, no. Azerbaijan, I don't know if I said that right, but no, I don't have it for both. So I'm just going to delete it. I'm going to leave it in my raw. Well, so I'll come back to that, but I would probably leave it in my raw data set. I would list out everything for both data values that I had and then explain why I deleted them. So for now, this is going to be my organized raw data that I'm going to be able to use efficiently with Excel. So basically, I need to do that for all the way down, right? So this took a little bit of time here. And again, being proficient with, moving around, deleting, editing can be useful. You'll get a lot of practice with that here with Excel. So again, just to kind of finish up here, Bahrain, I don't have for both. Bangladesh, I do. As you start getting, like, for example, as I kept moving rows and stuff, there got to be quite a gap. So to avoid scrolling, I ended up, you can delete some rows in between to move that up a little bit. Or if you need to, you can, select all of your data in one data value and just move it all up at once, just to avoid a lot of scrolling, because eventually here you might get a lot of gaps here. So the way that this turned out now looks like this, right? So I now have this was my final columns for I went through that whole process. So then what I just did is condensed it into just the country, poisoning deaths per 100,000, and literacy rate total adult. And so that is my data set. Now, I only have 80 data values, data pieces. So there are 80 countries that I was able to get both data values on. And at this point, I'm going to go with that for now. But if you wanted more, right, basically I could double that probably by selecting another year. And so I'd want to talk about why I selected another year's worth of data. Maybe I select the next most recent year that I have data on. So 2010, look at literacy rates for 2010, but I noticed there's quite a bit more missing in 2010. So the literacy data is not as complete as what I would hope for. Maybe I look for another year that seems like it has more complete, but it doesn't quite look like it. So for now, I'm going to go with 80 data values. And that's not the end of the world, but if I did want to try to get some more data, I would just basically need to pick another year's worth and kind of go through that same process and then just include it on the end. Once you have your data, then the data that you're going to use, then you can copy and paste it into each of these calculations and do your calculations then with your data. So I could make I could do my mean, median, mode and other one variable statistics, your quartiles and so forth. You could do your frequency table. Remember, for these calculations, you're doing one frequency table for one variable at a time, not together, right? Histogram is just going to represent, you're going to have a histogram for poisoning deaths, or I will, and a histogram for literacy rate total adult. Pie chart, same thing. Box plot, same thing. You're going to have one box plot for poisoning deaths, one box plot for literacy rate. Scatter plot would be the one that you're now looking at together. Okay, and again, scatter plot, you can do that. And then the only other thing that I would include here in my spreadsheet is the correlation calculation setup that we did in class. We did one example in class, and that's the other tab that I'm going to add here soon. And so there's a little help organizing your spreadsheets, trying to get things, your data in a format where you can use it efficiently in Excel.